Welcome to the 315 Mandate. I'm your host, Janice Yates, and today I am talking with Miss Araminta Reid, and she is going to share with us her personal testimony and her journey with Jesus Christ. Welcome, Araminta.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I know that you have journeyed from Georgia to California, back to Georgia, is that correct?
Somewhat. From
Somewhat
Georgia to Texas to Tampa to California. So, yes, but my journey, I would say, would start from Georgia to the California area. Starting out with my journey, I was raised and brought up in the church. So I've always known the setting. But you know, once you become a teenager, you go through that rebellious stage and just, you go when you feel like you want to go.
Okay.
So that was my beginning of my journey, and got married at an early age, and ended up in California. And I ended up at a church home where I was nurtured. It reminds me of being like a baby in Christ, where you're nurtured, you're bottle fed, and you go through the nurturing stage. Upon leaving California, I had to come back to Georgia. First of all, when I heard God tell me to come back to Georgia, I rebelled against coming back to Georgia until the place that He made me. He caused things to happen to the point where I had no choice but to come back. So once I got back to Georgia, there was a struggle, a really hard struggle with me. I found myself in a place of being homeless, but through that, I would say God was teaching me how to trust, because upon leaving California, being in that setting where I was being nurtured, I found safety.
Okay.
I found that realm of safety, and it was a net. And so now I'm out. I was pushed out of the nest to fend for myself. But through that, I've learned that I had to trust God in everything that I was doing in my walk. Coming back to Georgia for me, I felt like I didn't really hear God clearly when He told me to come back because of the things that was going on in my life at that moment. But now I can say that I know that it was the will of God for me to come back. Sometimes when we go through those struggles, we thinking we're making the wrong decision. Because as Christians, we feel like we probably shouldn't go through certain things. But why not? Why not me? So my walk today has been a walk on nothing but trust. Nothing but trust God. I've had to trust God for everything. From raising my children to where the next meal is going to come from, so on and so forth, It's just been a trust and believing, knowing that His word, when He said He'll never leave you nor forsake you, that has really stood out to me, because not once have He ever left me nor forsake me. Even when I got in those places of seeming like that I was all alone by myself, God always brought Himself and showed Himself to me. Even during those times when He would just stop speaking And I just felt like, oh my God, I've done something so bad. He can't hear me. But he allowed me to go through, and once you come to that end and you look back and you're like, wow, you can see where he was there all the time, carrying you along the way. So I can stand today and I say that I can truly say that I trust him totally. I've had no choice but to trust him.
Amen.
Totally.
So let's go back a little bit and kind of bring the journey from the beginning to where it is now. It sounds like possibly you're one who maybe always knew God was in your life. Would you say that's true?
I knew of him.
Okay.
I knew of God, and I knew of God because I knew of God through my grandmother.
Okay.
Because, like I say, when you're coming up in the church at that time, it's like when they say it's time to go to church, you got to go to church. Mm-hmm. So I was made to go to church. I didn't really get into it.
Okay.
I was just there, basically.
And was that in Georgia?
That was here in Georgia.
Yes.
And once I became an adult and started going on my own, I still wasn't sold out. Mm-hmm. I would go to church. I was one of those that played church. Okay. And one year that sticks out so clear to me was the year of 1992, where I trust God, and I've always believed him, but I was still at that stage of searching where I need to be. I would go to church. I would come back home and change out on my clothes, and I go hit the clubs. Mm-hmm. And that was something I enjoyed doing. Okay. And I didn't feel like I was doing too bad because I wasn't out there doing a whole lot of bad things. I just felt like I was just having a good time. Mm-hmm. But I knew that wasn't where God was directing my life.
Was that because of the foundation that you got from your grandmother making you go to church? Mm-hmm. Okay. So all things do work together for the
yes,
good.
For the good. Yes. So, yes, that year was that's a book. Mm-hmm. That year is a book.
Okay. So was that a pivotal year for you in your relationship with God?
That was a pivotal year. Yes, it was. Yes, it really was.
And what changed? It went from what to what?
It went from being confused, not understanding, wanting to be close to God, but just at a place of, I just don't know.
Okay.
I just didn't know. I just wanted to I don't know. I got to a place where I felt like I was in a place by myself, no family around, and I had a church family then that were trying to embrace me, but I got to that place where I was pretty much pushing people away from me.
Okay. And where were you then geographically?
In California.
Okay, so by then we're in California. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how long did you stay in that place of pushing people away and not really knowing?
Probably about a year. And it wasn't so much that I pushed everybody away. It was anyone that was connected with the church.
Okay.
I was pushing those people away. Being to that place of not feeling worthy to walk in that which I knew God was calling me to do.
So in hindsight, do you now have a better understanding of what was actually happening?
Yes.
You want to tell us about it?
Yes. I believe I was going through a stage of God was just allowing me to go through that process to get an understanding of me. To understand me, to understand the walk, to go through the struggles, knowing that whatever it was that I was going through, that he's there. Regardless, he's there. I've come to learn that I'm just marked.
Okay.
No matter how. I was one of those that I was a runner. Didn't want to accept the call. So I made up the excuses and I ran. Not wanting to face the truth. So I ran from the call. Didn't want to accept the call. I was a runner.
I heard about the runners. I've known some other runners. Okay. So you mentioned earlier that you hadn't, term you used was gotten sold out. How'd you make the transition to being sold out?
I thought I was last year. Not until this year, August the 29th, last month. The day after, actually the night of me finding out about my dad's death. I had an encounter. I had an encounter that I can't even put into words. I can't put into words, but I would tell you that from age 13 to that present moment, it was as though my life had flashed. And within that period of time, that short period of time, God showed me some things. He showed me the whys. Why did I have to go through certain things? As far as like things that I went through as in childhood. He made a lot of things perfect, clear to me. And in that time, I told God, no more. I'm done. I'm done running. And I accept.
Amen.
And I was ready for whatever it was, whatever the struggles. I was ready. I was ready to take the stand. No more running. No more hiding.
Okay. So we're talking from what year to most recently were you in that place of knowing that you were running? How far back does that go?
As long as all of my adult life. All of my adult life. I knew the call that was upon me at an early age, but not understanding what the call, not understanding how to walk into the call. Not wanting the responsibility.
Okay. Yeah.
Not wanting the responsibility. Not wanting the responsibility because I have been hurt through ministry, through people's words, and I was afraid mostly of saying something that may hurt someone else, and I was afraid. I was afraid to walk in the call.
But you knew.
I've always known. I've always known.
How did you know?
Because God spoke it to me.
Oh, so God speaks.
Yes, He does speak.
Oh, okay. Tell us about that.
He's that quiet voice that you hear that sounds even like your voice. Yes. And you know when He's speaking to you. You know.
So He spoke directly to you. This did not come through someone else.
This didn't come through anyone else. Growing up, a lot of my family used to tell me, "Oh, girl, you're psychic. How did you know?" I didn't understand it because I'm like, okay. But some things I would speak, and I used to, as a child, I used to try to figure out, how did I know that? How did I know that? And I didn't understand. And because I didn't have the understanding, I didn't know what was wrong with me.
And that made you feel how?
Very uncomfortable. Made me feel crazy sometimes that people didn't understand me. So I hid behind the words, people just don't understand me.
Okay. Can relate.
Yeah, they just don't understand me. So I hid behind those words. Not wanting to deal with it. Just plain out, not wanting to deal with it.
And was that all part of the running?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was very much so part of the running. The running was basically not understanding who I was and who God had called me to be.
Okay, so here we are, October 1st of 2013, and now being on the other side of having reached that place of being sold out. You can stand up and say that you know what about who you are?
Whew. And then I say again, yes, it's still hard.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it is. But I am a prophet of God.
You want to say that a little louder?
Yes, I am a prophet of God.
Ma'am?
Yes. I said it.
How do you feel having said that?
Great.
Is it liberating?
Yes.
Do you think accepting our identity, who we were put here to be, helps liberate us?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Do you want to talk to those out there who are dealing with that same thing, who are still running, still trying to come to terms with who they are?
Yes. I'll tell you one thing. You can run all you want to, but when you are called, chosen, God's not going to stop. You're going to keep going through until you just finally say, I give up, I yield, I throw in the towel. I am who God says I am. All I can say is just receive it. Come into the understanding of who God has called you to be and walk in it. There is freedom. There is freedom.
And it's all right.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank
Yes,
you
it is.
so much for sharing that that path that you had to take and what you went through as a result of it, and the feelings and the emotions and even the length of time that it took you, because you always knew, but it took you a while.
A long while.
But God is so patient.
Yes, He is.
He's so patient.
He's
And
very
his grace and His mercy is just unending. There's no limit to it. So He'll wait, you know. He'll wait on us. He'll wait on us. So today we have the story of identity, the truth and the liberty that comes from knowing who you are, accepting who you are, speaking who you are, and moving in who you are, and the truth and the liberty that comes with that. So I just thank Miss Araminta here, my sister, for sharing that story with us, and just another powerful testimony for the 315 mandate. Thank you.